What can I say? It has been a while. Last video I think was May sometime, end of May. It is now July. Can you believe it? It's a little bit noisy here with the car, so I think we'll go somewhere else. There we go. The old workshop. My name is Magnus, just in case you're wondering who this guy is who has popped up on your feed on YouTube, because it has been almost 2 months since I last did a video. Actually, let's rewind a bit. I did YouTube videos 400 days in a row, well 398 without a single day missed. I think I got burnt out. I wasn't sure. I just felt that, you know, I just got to the point where it's just like, I really don't want to do another video. And, you know, that's not what you want to be thinking when you're making videos. So I just stopped dead. And now I am just starting randomly. I don't know why. I've just new camera, as you might be able to tell, new camera, new lens, new microphone. So that was really it. I just stopped because I just felt like stopping pretty much. If you remember, I went to the US to get these finished. These were titanium cheese slicers and vegetable peelers. So there was about 1,200 or 1,300 of those I took over. The purpose of taking them over was because this centrifugal tumbler here wouldn't quite get the finish done in a reasonable amount of time. It would take 200 or 300 hours. And so we took it there, it worked out. There was a little bit more to go, which we did here. However, long story long, what was meant to take a day and a half took at least 2.5 weeks. I can't even remember now. 2.5 weeks of both myself and my father working 16 to 18 hours a day. So in total, I don't know how many, somewhere between 300 and 400 hours, I think. We just had loads and loads of issues that kept happening, different things. If it could go wrong, it went wrong, basically. It's all done now. Those things were for my machinist's Kickstarter project. He got them all. They've all been shipped. Backers are, for the most part, receiving them. The feedback is awesome, which is great because it really was, you know, the best finish I'd ever done on anything. Today is just going to be a catch-up video, I think. Just letting you know what's been going on for the last 1 or 2 months since I last did a video. I don't know if I'm going to do a video tomorrow or the day after or the day after that. I don't know. I know that I'm doing a video today. That's all I know. What's been happening? I am down here to tumble pill pots. I am massively late in delivering these. So those are the pill pots for a Kickstarter project, sort of big titanium containers that sort of screw together, that kind of thing. I'm delivering late because you know what? I'm so late in delivering now, I can't even remember why. I screwed up the titanium, I didn't order enough, I didn't order it on time. Things like this happen, so there's always a little dent or dimple from the lathe on the base of these. And I wanted to kind of get them as flawless and perfect as I could, so I decided to sand them. Now this one here, you should be able to see that. That is halfway sanded. So, you know, it's sanded on the outside, it's still got the middle to go. That takes about 10 minutes and 200 to 300 strokes of me holding on to sandpaper. That's for one. You know, my fingers are absolutely dead afterwards. So, because there's a few hundred to do, it's not impossible, but it's certainly not possible within like a reasonable time frame to do it by hand. So what I decided to do was make like my own sanding machine. I did this about 2 weeks ago. I made a prototype, and I will show you that prototype right now. You see, the reason why I made a machine like that, or I'm making a machine like that, is because when I use a machine like this, a linisher type machine, when you hold a pot on there, like so, it's one thing, it gets hot, so you have to go take it off, on, off, cool water, da 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 da. Not only that, but it's not perfectly flat. You get this little sort of lip that rises. It's just the nature of it. And you know, you've got to manually do it. So I thought with that machine there, something that goes back and forth in a linear action, you can do multiple pots at the same time, and it sort of just works away on its own in the background. You know, every I don't know, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, you just change a bunch of pots, put the next ones on, and they're done. You know, really hands off. That seemed to be the good solution. And you know, not only for that, but as I mentioned earlier with, you know, these peelers and slicers, one of the big problems was that the titanium I started with, some of it had issues, some of it was pitted. There'd be like these pinholes in there that were an absolute nightmare. And so I had to make this. I will show you this. So that wooden frame sat on a bit of sandpaper. I would then put slicers and peelers on there and just manually put it back and forth, sanding the flats. It was back-breaking, shoulder-breaking, sweat-inducing work. Just tough, really tough. I know I'm going on about the cheese slicer project, but believe it or not, it was such an intense couple, sort of 2 or 3 weeks that, like, my sort of body and mind somewhat broke down a little bit. I don't mean a nervous breakdown. I just mean like I was physically like just, I don't know, a weird exhaustion that I've never experienced before, both mentally and physically. Just once that project was over, and my father was helping me as well, and you know, he experienced the same thing. We were both doing really long hours. Just out of interest, you know, my father's never on the camera, but he's gone back to Scotland now. He was only over sort of visiting for sort of an extended period of time. His visa ran out. He's got to go, so I don't have him help me out around the workshop like he was. So it's me and me only now, doing the online stuff, doing everything. So going back to the pill pots, that's part of the reason it's delayed. I need to make this machine to be able to sand it. That machine I showed you earlier, it's too slow. It takes like 2 hours to do 4 pots, and because there's a few hundred to do, you can do the maths. It's not going to work. It's not feasible. So I'm getting another one made up right now. I'm getting, you know, a motor with a what they call a VSD, variable speed drive, so I can increase and decrease the power. I won't need any belts or pulleys like I thought I would. I'm going to have a motor with a gearbox on it. I've ordered a big frame to put it on. I've ordered some stainless steel because, you know, I want the whole thing to be stainless steel and sort of aluminium if I need it or whatever, but you know, I don't want anything rusting on it. This is sort of a long-term thing, so you know, if I can, I'll show you the progress of that machine. I think you'll find it interesting. Like I'm really interested in it. You know, like making a tool to sort of make the products I do. That, you know, I bought that tumbler, I bought that grinder, bought the water jet cutter, bought the milling machine, but like buying all these things, buying this linisher, but I've never really made something for my products, and I find that really exciting. Making this sanding machine, which as far as I can tell doesn't exist, and from the prototype, from what I can tell, it's gonna work really well, and this is only the 2nd iteration. So it'll be really interesting to see how that turns out, and I kind of want to share that with you. I've stopped briefly at the workshop right now because I need to do tumbling of the ordinary pill pots in this machine here. By ordinary pill pots, I don't mean the large ones I showed you that I'm going to be sanding the bases of. I mean these ones, the sort of 28mm and 22mm ones. You know, I sell those on the website. The orders have sort of been coming in since I sort of made them, and they just sort of sell away in the background. Okay, so I need to do some tumbling of those because I'm low on stock for those. Something else is I finally launched a pre-order for a fidget spinner, titanium fidget spinner. I have a launch coming up soon. I would say around about a week and a half from now on Kickstarter for the sort of 2-ended fidget spinner, like the sort of bar spinner or bi spinner. But this is a try one. I basically did a pre-order for November of this year for that spinner. Between you and me, pre-order went pretty well actually. I'm going to close it pretty soon, but tell you what, I will put a link in the description below. That's to the pre-order page where you can, you know, sign up if you want to get on that. We'll be closing soon. That's my pitch to you for today. The other thing I've done, and I've only done it in the last week or two, is completely and absolutely rethought out, replanned, re-strategized, reapproached, something like that, my business in terms of the relationship to the customers. When I started off in business 4 years ago, or this business should I say, I got products out quite fast. I communicated personally and very well with customers. I focused on simple products and that kind of thing. And over the last year and a half, 2 years maybe, I lost it all. You know, I stopped bringing out sort of products, you know, as I should. You know, I slowed that right down, and that really affects cash flow and profit and, you know, being able to run the business. I stopped communicating as well with the customers, like when they ordered and that kind of thing, and also just in general, you know, once they're on my email list, I would communicate with customers, and I stopped doing that. And I stopped doing like 5 things that I started out with doing really well, and it just affected business, and I'm only realizing it now. And so I've started this thing where, you know, if a customer orders, they get a personal email saying, you know, thank you for your order, you know, and just, you know, generally like chit chat kind of thing. You know, when the order's shipped, they get an email. When the order's about to arrive, they get an email. Like, I just, you know, asking them how it goes, anything I can help them with. No, like really just being there, really being there. And that ties in with, you know, the fact that I've upped all the prices on my website recently as well. Like, now I know my products are high end anyway, and you know, there's always that like, what's someone willing to pay for my products? You know, like I thought $149 for a titanium mechanical pencil was relatively high, because, you know, you look around, you know, you get $3 ones in shops, and, you know, other places, you know, they will offer decent, say, metal ones, but, you know, they're still made in China, but they're made in millions at a time, tens of millions maybe, and therefore they can make the price lower. You know, and looking at my business, really going into detail the last sort of few weeks, few months, like I cannot sell it for $149. What did seem like, oh, you know, I'm pushing limits. It's like, no, like business sustainability, I'm not going to be in business unless I'm at like, what have I put it up to now? 189. Like, it needs to be that. That's the nature of the business. And, you know, the good thing I see about that is that it allows me to put more effort into the product, get it flawless, get it perfect. It allows me to, you know, give one-on-one to customers. I don't mean one-on-one me personally. I don't have the time for that, but I do when I can. I just mean email support from, you know, my email support person, or, you know, whoever it is. I was just about to start the tumbler there and head home, but screwdriver, the what do you call it? One of the, I don't know what they call them, cradles, I don't know. This one, it's a little bit shaky. I don't quite know what's wrong with it, so I'm going to take the side off and have a look. 35 plastic buckets, just like this one here. We use tons of them. Now the reason I'm showing you this is typically, well, the reason I'm showing you is because it's kind of exciting. You know, however many I buy, I never have enough. They've been $25 each recently, and they were $6 or $7 each. So I was just like, I said, look, I'll just buy everything you've got in the shop. So that was kind of cool. So like a saving of $500 or whatever it was there. But you know, it's a lot of buckets, but I will use them. Just out of interest, you know, I use them to store the media, you know, what I tumble in, you know, because, I mean, look at this. That's just some of it. Like, you just go through it, you have it spread out all over the floor, so that's why they're there. Just back at the house, going to show you something kind of interesting. Now, I don't generally read newspapers or watch the news or anything like that. You know, I believe if it's important enough, it will get to me. Plus 70–80% of the news is negative, and I like to maintain a positive frame of mind and positive influences where I can, or certainly where I can exert control, if that doesn't sound too weird. So we got the local newspaper here. Not quite the New York Times, but I'm going to show you something in here. Not only that, but we have another newspaper here. Furry owl? That's not me. This is me. Now, I don't know how many people read that newspaper because, you know, meeting loads of people around town, not many people have mentioned it. You know, you'd think like getting page 2 and 3 on 2 newspapers would be a big deal. Apparently not, but it doesn't really matter. I've done a pre-order for spinners, which was kind of what that article was about, you know, getting on the spinner trend, and, you know, it's going well. That's the main thing that I care about, results. And I think I will call it a day at that. I will of course leave you with a quote. It is by Christopher Morley, and he said, "There is only one success, to be able to spend your life in your own way."